Petroleum production and export play a dominant role in Nigeria's economy and account for about 90% of the country's GDP. Discovered in Nigeria in 1956 at Oloibiri in the Niger Delta, oil exploration has traditionally recorded low participation of indigenous players. The industry took a U-turn in 2010 with the signing of the Nigerian Content Law. This piece of legislation has not only offered indigenous companies opportunities to grow their assets, but has resulted in the greater engagement of local contractors in downstream industries. Serv Limited is one of such organizations with a notable participation in the oil economy. Incorporated in 1992, Serv began operations in 1995, providing services to multinationals and local oil and gas companies operating in Nigeria.
What has driven us all these years is our ability to focus. The company has been set up with a very strong foundation on professionalism. Professionalism in terms of the way we recruit our workforce and make sure we train them. Professionalism in terms of the way we deploy our resources, making sure that our equipment and tools are top-notch and we maintain them. Professionalism in the way also that we go about our processes. And all those make a lot of difference. Now, when we came into business, there was really no chance given to Nigerian companies. We had to swim against the tide. You couldn't even be qualified to be included in the bidders list. That's the key thing. Not to talk of being given a chance to submit a bid. So the only way we were able to achieve a purpose was to prove that we know what we are going about to do.
Worth over $800 million in 2013, Serv has proven its strength in Nigeria's oil and gas pipeline and flow line, gas metering and flow stations, as well as in gas turbine power generation areas. Their activities cover a wide spectrum.
In terms of actual activity, most of our activities are in pipelines, land, swamp, and we have capacity to also carry out pipe laying in offshore in conjunction with vessel owners. Beyond that also, we do build facilities that are associated with oil and gas pipelines. Like for oil pipelines, you're talking of manifold stations, you're talking of flow stations, you're talking of pump stations, and the like.
Certified by the International Organization for Standardization, Serv employs the latest technology in pipeline installation across Nigeria. With installations across land, water and swamps, the goal is to ensure little or no interruptions with the environment and existing infrastructure during installations.
Serv remains the only pipeline company today in Nigeria that consistently uses welding system that is automatic or semi-automatic. We don't use manual welding anymore for our pipelines. That brings consistency in your welds. That also gives us higher speed and then be able to give higher quality of work. And we have our trained technicians that manage that and handle that. One other area we have introduced new technology is the technology of crossing rivers. You can appreciate that when you are building a pipeline, you go across jungles, across mountains, across all sorts of things. You don't avoid them. In going through rivers, that will pose a particular challenge. One is some rivers are difficult to cross because of the nature. Second, in trying to cross a river the conventional way, which is to dredge and drop the pipeline, you get into a situation where you actually have environmental damage. You disturb the water, which can affect the livelihood of people. What we do now is we do what we call horizontal directional drilling technology. We come in and we go under the water without touching the water.
Here at Umunsedege in Delta State, the installation of 51.4 kilometer by 12-inch crude oil pipeline systems is currently underway. With a minimum depth of 3 meters at road crossing and 1.8 meters at the main site, the thrust boring method is employed to ensure no damage is done to the road or disruption to commuters. Meanwhile, at Oron, gas pipelines are being laid across the swamp as part of the distance to be covered. Chacha Okosa is the project manager on this site.
It's basically all about constructing a pipeline, a 37.8 kilometer pipeline of 24 inches to link up a CPF at somewhere in the Siraket to Adanga, a tying point in Adanga, to a pipeline moving all the way from to Calabar through the ocean. 1.8. The bags are actually called saddle bags. They're actually supposed to be just a way of introducing a weight factor to get the line, the pipe, to settle well at the bottom of the ditch and remain there.
With the ability to weld and lay oil and gas pipe and flow lines ranging from a 2-inch diameter to a 56-inch diameter, the company has executed several million-dollar projects across the country. Notable amongst these is the Greater Lagos Phase 3 project, which saw to the laying of gas distribution pipelines underwater and land in and around Lagos. The company is also responsible for the construction of 36-inch Trans-Niger pipeline manifold at Ogale, Eleme in River State, which falls within the operations of Royal Dutch Shell.
Owando Group is one of our major clients. Like I said, LNG is there, Total is there, of course SPDC. We also have a good working relationship with Niger Delta Development Company, the NIPP projects. And these projects span different diameters of pipeline and in kilometer range. For NIPP, for instance, we have 3 major locations, which is in Ihovo, Igbema, and Baran. These projects are all nearing completion. As a matter of fact, in the next couple of weeks, we should be commissioning and handing over. In the history of the Nigerian oil and gas, especially with gas facilities, today we can pride ourselves as a major player, especially in the Nigerian Gas Master Plan. Today, we're helping NNPC to roll out the first phase of that plan with the OB3 project.
Vandalization of oil pipelines remain a major problem in Nigeria's oil and gas space. One suggested solution is to better techniques in the laying of pipelines, such as burying it further underground.
It's doable, it can be done, but the challenge is also, when you finish your pipeline construction, it's designed for 25 years, 30 years. From the day it's commissioned to that useful life expiration is subject to maintenance. Now, if it goes such depth, we solve a problem of vandalism, but create another problem about access to maintainability of that line. So that's the challenge. So it's for the client or the asset owner to weigh the pros and the cons, but it's doable that it can be buried. But as I said, the challenge is that when it comes to maintenance, how do you assess that place?
Using a technology known as cofferdam, Serv offers quick and adequate response to the leak of flow lines and pipelines in a bid to curtail environmental hazards and pollution. As part of its services, the company owns 2 dedicated and equipped fabrication workshops for the services of land, swamp, and offshore operations. Here in Edo State is the OB3 workstation, which forms the starting point for a 64-kilometer by 48-inch gas transmission pipeline system with diameters of 4 feet. Their purpose will be to evacuate gas from rivers to Edo State. Vehicles and pipes are stocked for installation. The premises houses offices and residential quarters for staff to ensure the deadline is met. Serv's achievements have not come without challenges.
The biggest challenge has always been trying to change a system. When people are used to doing things in a certain way, it's difficult to change. It's purely human nature. If you have the likes of Shell, Exxon, Total, and Chevron, and Ajib, okay, they're used to giving contracts to big multinationals. They're comfortable with them because they've always delivered. You can imagine when you come to them and you're asking them to change their processes in order to look at local companies. Originally, that was a major problem. Today, that has changed a lot. But there is still a gap to go.
The challenge will always be there because the communities are becoming more and more, I'll call it aggressive in quote, because maybe because of the past history of what has happened in the past, where the communities do not benefit from projects being executed within their terrain. So they come out aggressively and sometimes threaten you not to complete the project. So community is one. Security, of course, is what is prevalent in this area, but we have a solid plan to counter such, and we've not had any major incident.
The clamour for participation by host communities has led to constant clashes with oil companies and oil servicing firms across oil-producing states in Nigeria. The lack of technical know-how and expertise is cited as major reasons for not engaging the services of youths from the host communities.
We have a lot to do in training people in Nigeria. Serv has done so well because we are set up under a good foundation. We have a system to train and retrain our own staff. We have what we call graduate training program, whereby we take young engineers from university. As I speak to you, we just started with another batch of 14. We pass them through 1-year training immediately after their youth service. If they qualify, we retain them. Those we cannot retain because of space, availability of space, and we know they're good, we certify them to be able to go elsewhere and get jobs, because at that time they have skill that is proven. So we are doing that continuously in order to develop capacity.
As the company improves on its workforce, the chairman and chief executive officer of Serv, Mr. Emeka Okwuosa, sets his sights on other opportunities in the sector.
One is looking at territorial expansion. In terms of services, we are continuing to deploy services. We intend, moving forward, to be able to get into more of the activities offshore, because the opportunities there, they are continuing to increase. So beyond working on land and swamp, we want to go into offshore pipeline, which we have the capacity. It's about getting the jobs to drive them. Another area we are going into now is to diversify beyond services and go into E&P. We are bidding for marginal fields. We're also involved in some of the blocks that some IOCs are relinquishing, going in conjunction with some other partners to be able to have a bit of it.
Serv aims to be known as a top-quality pipeline and facility company, delivering timely and consistent quality projects and services to its client, with up-to-date equipment and facilities, deploying high-quality staff while ensuring superior returns to stakeholders.